I wanted to share my take on the Samurai Pretty. I'm aware everyone has very strong opinions about whether or not you're Team Conrad or Team Jeremiah. I'm neither. I'm both. I genuinely really like both characters, but I do feel that people have been unfairly harsh on Jeremiah Fisher. And I would like to say, whether you are Team Conrad or Jeremiah, totally fine either way. I was really proud of him for standing up to Belly and actually deciding not to marry her after she told him Conrad loved her. And he was saying, look, I'm not a fool. I'm fully aware that Conrad still loves you. I'm fully aware you still love Conrad. Most important bit. I know that a part of you is always going to love him, and you're never going to have that space for me completely, and I want to have you completely, and we shouldn't be getting married if you're not completely in this. And I really respected him for doing that. That took so much strength on his part, so much courage, and he did that. This is a character that gets a lot of hate and a lot of backlash from people, and I just wanted to just make people aware of that, basically. I also think that people are being unfair with how they are saying that he cheated on Belly and Conrad. This is the big thing. This is why everybody hates Jeremiah, is because of what happened in Conrad, because they think that he cheated on her. I personally believe, I guess it's different because it depends. If you haven't read the books, it might be different from the series, so I will need to read the books. But from what I've seen so far in the series, I got the impression that basically he thinks it's over, he thinks it's done. It's pretty clear they're over, but for Belly, it's not. She thinks they're on a break, and this is the problem in a lot of series, is the girl thinks they're on a break, the guy thinks they've officially broken up. So she thinks they're still together and having a pause, and he thinks it's finished, and he acts like he's single. And that's basically what happened, I think. So I really liked as well that the Samurai Pretty have said to people, please remember this is a fictional story, these are fictional characters, be kind to the cast playing these characters, especially the cast playing Belly and Jeremiah. Any of the characters who've been given hate, please remember these are people at the end of the day, and we need to be kind to everyone, regardless of if you're Team Conrad or Team Jeremiah. At the beginning of the series, I think pretty much all of us were Team Conrad, just because we didn't have a lot of information to go off of, and we hadn't seen the plot point of her being with Jeremiah yet. I personally think Jeremiah was a really good boyfriend to her. He was great, he was warm, he was supportive, he was always there for Belly when Conrad messed up. Conrad was always there for Belly when Jeremiah messed up. So this is the thing, she'd go between the two brothers, so if one didn't work out, she'd just go to the other, she'd ping pong between the two. And I think we need to remember as well that, you know, every character in this series has cheated. Pretty much every single character hasn't been loyal. We love Taylor, but she did cheat. We love Steven, he cheated. Belly, the main character, she kept going behind the other brothers' backs because she was so confused about her feelings. And the thing is, a lot of people are saying how selfish she is as a character, and yes, but also remember how old she is. Think about how old Belly would be in this and how young she is. And I think if you were that age and you were in that situation and you were in her shoes, I think it would be likely the same thing would happen, especially if you'd known them your whole life and you were around them all the time. Like, I really do get that. I think the problem is clear communication and honesty, direct, and that's what the problem was, is they were going behind backs without telling each other directly what was going on, and also hiding things from each other. And that's the big problem. It makes a great show, but that's the problem. And I think the reason why, I think the only thing I have a problem with is that Jeremiah didn't tell her, by the way, this happened in cover, because he didn't tell her until she found out by overhearing a conversation. That's the problem. Lack of communication. Both of them, no, they're not, you know, being open with each other, and they're hiding stuff from each other behind the backs. And that's, I think, what led to the crumbling of their relationship. I think the problem with Conrad is he's such a lovely character. We all love him. He's been amazing and supportive. But I think that he's passive. And I think his passivity is why she slipped through his fingers and started dating Jeremiah, because Jeremiah took action. He was assertive. And he showed interest in her, and he did something about it. His brother just kind of was on the sidelines and didn't do anything, because he is much more shy and introverted. But he has been so lovely, but also he's put her through the ringer. We need to remember he's put her through the ringer. We need to remember Belly has put Jeremiah through the ringer. we need to remember that Belly has also put Conrad through the ringer. So this is something I think we need to remember. So I think it's difficult to just be black and white, being like, oh, I'm just Conrad or I'm just Jeremiah. I think I genuinely really like both characters, but I don't believe in hating Jeremiah. I don't stand by that, and I really like him. I think he's a lovely character. I think he was warm. I think he was an amazing boyfriend, really supportive. He was like that teddy bear, you know, because they went from best friend to lovers, which I think is really healthy, going from friends to lovers. You know, you've built that strong foundation. A lot of people, I think, are always scared to share their opinions about this series because they're like, oh, they're all going to come at me in the comments, it's going to be a war. But people should be allowed to speak freely about how they think and feel, regardless of what people think. And I know people are going to have strong opinions about this, but I just wanted to defend Jeremiah's character and the actor who plays him as well. He's had a lot of unfair hate and backlash, and they're such lovely people, so just be kind and remember that the cast are people. Another thing I'd like to say is that Jeremiah was paying for his mum's bills when she was ill, and also as soon as him and Belly were getting engaged, he actually stepped up to the plate and was like, oh, I've got to make sure that I've got that stability, we've got to make sure we get a house. Like, he was putting all the practical stuff in place so that they could be married. He did a lot, I think, behind the scenes. The problem, I think a lot of people had trouble with the cake scene and the fact he's saying about the cow and the bean and how, and that is a problem, and how she couldn't afford it, but it was important to him to have it at the club for his dad. And I think the problem is he does care about his dad's opinion a lot, and I think that's one of the big hurdles in their relationship. So I can see why that would be a reason why people don't like him. I get that, but I don't get why people would hate him because of what happened in Cabo, if that makes sense. I think in each season of the series we see each character becoming the knight in shining armor and then becoming the bad guy. Like, I've seen that throughout the series, where you start off thinking a character's great and having a positive opinion, and then they do something because they're human, they make mistakes, and suddenly people have gone off them and don't like them anymore. And just like Belly, they've ping-ponged to the other brother, and I think the series ping-pongs viewers from one brother to the other brother, just like how Belly goes from one brother to the other brother when one messes up, so she goes to the other one, and then if they mess up, she just goes back to the first one. I think it's a shame that it has caused such a rift in the story. I had this really unconventional, isn't it a shame they can't be a throuple? But the problem is they can't, because it would be weird for the brothers and they're straight and it wouldn't work. But it's a shame she can't be with both brothers and they can't all be together, because that would be a great solution. I think no matter whoever she's with, she's always going to have feelings. There's always going to be another brother in the background. There's always going to be one of the brothers around. So I don't think she can ever fully commit to just one brother. I think a lot of us want her to be with Conrad, and we love that idea, but can she fully commit to him, or is a piece of Jeremiah going to be with her, just like a piece of Conrad was always going to be with her if she married Jeremiah? So I just don't know if marrying one, I think we all want her to be with Conrad. I think me too, like, we want her to marry him because I think Jeremiah deserves better. I also think Conrad deserves better. I think both brothers deserve better, to be honest. People want Conrad to choose himself. I think people want Jeremiah to choose himself or be with Redbird. I think that's probably what people want. But I would like characters to choose themselves. I'd love her to be with Conrad, but it has been a roller coaster for them. You know, it's really put each other through the ringer. I don't know how healthy that is. Can she fully commit to just one person? Or is there always going to be a piece of the other brother? That's my question. I started off being Team Conrad at the beginning of the series, and then I became Team Jeremiah with what happened with the ringer that Belly was put through emotionally and the push and pull, and it was just really not healthy, and it put her through the ringer. So then I became Team Jeremiah, and then after what happened with Cabo, I think a lot of people went off Jeremiah. I didn't, but I think the thing is, when they went to Michael's, this is the one where we all started going back to Team Conrad. I think a lot of people ping pong between the two. This is why I can't say I'm Team Jeremiah or I'm Team Conrad, because I was one and then I decided Jeremiah, and then I went back to Conrad. So I'm genuinely both. I genuinely like both people, but I don't agree in the hate that Jeremiah is getting, and I believe both brothers deserve better.